Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. This is another episode of Coffee and Contemplation, your favorite fucking podcast. Just admit it already. I'm your host, Old Heart, aka Jared, aka call me whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care, or do I? We'll find out later. Either way, today is a very wholehearted episode, full of rich, wholesome goodness and yada, 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 yada. That's a lie. It's a full-blown lie. Why? Because we're talking today about Donald Trump and Iran. So recently, we're not talking about that I ran so far away. That's not even the name of the fucking song, dummy. Get it out of your head. Flock of Seagulls sucks anyway. Rants done. All right. So, like I said, we're talking about Donald J. Trump, that fucking baboon, and we're talking about Iran. Because recently, we came very close to what could have turned into potential war with Iran. We as a nation, I say we as in the United States of America, because unfortunately, we are still, when I say Donald Trump and we're talking about Donald Trump, I say we are unfortunately still under that management, which sucks. Like, we need a change in management real bad. Thank God 2020 is right here. So just remember later on in this year to go out and vote. Okay, done. All right. So either way, this in the recent week or so, in recent times, we'll say, we have experienced what? Let's try and chronicle it. A president of the United States that's being impeached, has been impeached, is currently impeaching. He's not impeaching. He's getting impeached. It's awaiting trial in the Senate. Which is going to hopefully not go as terribly as everybody predicts. And so in the middle of this impeachment, we've all of a sudden have a crazed man decide to assassinate a top general of a foreign country, of another country. All right, obviously it's a foreign country. There's no country within our country. So we assassinate this foreign general, Soleimani, and then what? Then what do we expect? What do we expect that Iran will just take that and just be like, all right, well, the U.S. is fucking crazy? No. So Iran immediately has some backlash. They immediately say that they're going to do something in retaliation, which they later do, and they immediately the citizens, the people, are devastated. There's a massive funeral over there for this guy, for this general, who by all accounts isn't a great guy. I'm not gonna say he's a fantastic human being. Soleimani allegedly helped take Iranian money and fund different militia groups all throughout the region to attack the U.S. and other allies, as well as just basically being a dickhead. So not the greatest guy. So probably deserved to die. I'm gonna say that, but it was not Donald Trump's call to end that person's life. And that's one of the fucking problems here. So on top of all this, we have Iran now. Iran now angry as fuck at not necessarily the United States, but definitely the leadership of the United States right now, and vowing retaliation. So what we go to find out is that they launched some missiles at these technically Iraqi bases that house U.S. soldiers or U.S. People, and there's not really much harm that came from it. From what we've read, the fucking president, the leader of our country who started this goddamn conflict to begin with, which I want to remind everybody is the second conflict and like tiptoe with war that this particular fucking asshole Donald J. Trump has led us to through his administration, through his one-term administration. All right, this asshole has been president for one fucking term. And he's almost like started a war with Iran twice, right? And most of the time it seems to be when there's some sort of crisis surrounding his presidential administration, right? So right now he's being impeached and there's a lot of heat around him. The country there's been various polls around the country that have showed that the majority of people support impeachment and removal from office. And so at the beginning of the year, when there's been a little quiet, so like the House has voted to move along the trial to the Senate, and then there's like this little holiday break, right? Because all politicians and all criminals get to have a holiday break, apparently. Well, I guess if you're rich enough as a criminal, you get to have a holiday break. Shit! Shout outs to anybody listening. As always, shout outs to Mariah, Casey, Mojo, Jojo. Shout outs to Avi. Shout outs to Castle Roll, my co-host Lucas. You know what? Shout outs to anybody out there listening. Kudos to you. So we have a president that's being impeached. The shit's getting moved to the trial in the Senate, and we have a little quiet. And then the new year starts, and Donald Trump makes a drastic call to do something that will like demand everybody's attention, which is not the first time that a president has done this. All right. And I just want to say this. I don't credit, the old white people the old white men that sit at work and talk shit about foreigners. But sometimes they do say things like at least perk my interest to go research it. And so just look up, and I bet you'll find that Clinton, when he was in office, also had like a military, not necessarily like too official of a military. I mean, there was also like an armed conflict that happened right around the time that he was getting impeached. So I thought that was just kind of interesting. And so Donald Trump, I think, really just kind of like trounced up this fucking thing to start some shit. He wanted to kick some fucking dirt at Iran because he knew Iran would get fucking mad, and then there'd be some big ass headlines that just completely take away from the attention and the heat and the momentum that the impeachment was getting. And that is hopefully he's hopefully using this to curve all this in his favor and make like himself look good by being like a strong leader, when in reality he, like I said, this is the second time he's almost started a war with Iran. He tore up our nuclear deal that we had with the country, with Iran, and now that he's started this shit, Iran announced not only did they like retaliate by launching those missiles and shit that again didn't seem to do harm, at least much from what we've heard, but they also announced that they were not going to follow any guidelines to the 2015 nuclear agreement that the rest of the world, aka the European Union and other parts of the world, mostly the European Union, we're still trying to like work with them on and like hold them to. And like now they're saying fuck all, and they're tearing it up too, which why the fuck wouldn't they? We did that to them, as like Donald Trump did that to them, and like gave them nothing, and like then just sanctioned the fuck out of them, which in retaliation to Iran launching some missiles, which was in retaliation for us assassinating their general, the United States, under the leadership of Donald J. fucking Trump, that goddamn asshole, is imposing a massive amount of sanctions on Iran that will basically fuck up their goddamn economy even harder than we've already been fucking it up. And then this guy Trump has the audacity to go on Twitter and send messages on Twitter to the Iranian people, telling them that he stands with them in their protests over there. And as cool as that sounds, like, I would love to support a president who supports the Iranian people freeing themselves. But Donald Trump is not doing that. He is not that president. He is doing that for selfish gain. And like anybody who's watched him for 15 fucking minutes through his administration will tell you that. Like, he doesn't give a shit about the Iranian people, which is fucking devastating, because we should give a shit about the Iranian people, honestly. But like, he's using them as a tool for political clout, it seems. And this guy, dude, like, so the U.S. killed their general. Iran launched some missiles. The U.S. backed off their rhetoric a little bit and threw on some heavy-ass imposed sanctions. And then on top of this all, we find out that a commercial airplane at some point during all of this was shot down, and 176 people were killed on that plane. I mean, they were killed in the crash. They weren't like taken off the plane and killed, obviously. This is I don't know why I'm laughing about that. I'm sorry, folks. So rest in peace to those fucking people who were just accidentally killed by some military individual, some cat in Iran. Because Iran finally, after like an investigation had kind of been started, and people were starting to point fingers at them, Iran finally admitted to accidentally shooting down that commercial airliner. And all for what? All because Donald Trump. So let's just say this, 176 people over here. 176 people lost their lives in Iran. And that shit wouldn't have probably happened if Donald Trump hadn't murdered their general, they hadn't shot some missiles, hadn't like wanted to retaliate and shoot some missiles over into Iraq, which poor Iraq, man, they basically took the brunt of it. And speaking of Iraq, they, during all this, voted to remove all foreign military from their country. Their parliament and their prime minister voted to remove all foreign military. So theoretically, all of our bases over there are probably going to be, they probably want us to empty them. It's been fucking crazy. So I just wanted to like paint all this picture because Donald Trump had a general killed, Iran retaliated, and through that retaliation killed 180 people, and then Donald Trump decided to cripple their economy some more. What a fucking crazy week. Or so, chunk of time. Either way, just wanted to catch you up on that because I thought it was fucking nuts. Go out there, use your brains for good. Every day's a good day to ripen up that coconut. And as always...